Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of The Adventures of FoxFoil. Today we are going to be working over here in the city because I've been looking around and there are a couple of areas that really need some help. If we take a look around, you can see that there are some areas that are looking more complete than others. For example, this spot is looking pretty good, but this spot over here is looking a little bit lifeless. And don't even get me started with this spot over here. So there are 3 projects that I want to do today that are going to make this place seem less like a collection of buildings and more like a city. The first project that we are going to be working on is extending this road out and building another portal, because even though we've been working over here for many months, I still don't have another portal installed. The second project that we are going to be working on is transforming this space into an outdoor market. And the last project we are going to work on is planning out the buildings that we are going to be starting in this area. And if there's enough time, we might even start building them. So let's start with getting this nether portal built up. I think what I want to do is extend the road out and put it as close to the water as we can so that the portal is right over here. And then we're going to have the road coming in, and we'll probably build a few more towers as well. But in order to tell how many towers we're going to need to build, we should measure out this space first and see what we are working with. I've measured things out, and I think this is what we are going to be able to do. And where these 3 blocks are right here, that's where we're going to build one more pair of towers, and then we're going to have the portal go where this little circle is at. But now that it's measured out, it's time to fill in the rest of the blocks. With all of the blocks filled in on the top, the next thing that we need to do is get all of the blocks filled in on this side. We now have the rocks around the outside here, and I think that's looking much better. So let's get some materials together and get started building this nether portal. For the materials that we are going to be using in this project, it's going to be consistent with the blocks that we've used in the other builds in this area, which means that we'll be using blackstone, deep slate, quartz, and cyan blocks such as prismarine and warped wood. One of the benefits of having a consistent block palette across a number of builds is that occasionally you end up with enough resources already in your storage to complete your new project. It didn't take too long to get all of the materials gathered up, and I think we are now ready to get started with the build. We've got the structure all built up for the nether portal, but before we can light it, we are going to need to go into the nether roof and get that portal built so that they link up correctly, which means we need to fly back to the starting base to be able to use that nether portal one more time. I've built the nether portal on the nether roof. We're going to light it, and let's see what happens if we go through. Well, this is awkward. It built it on top of our nether portal, so we're going to need to fix this. I suppose it could have been worse. It could have put us down into the middle of some cave or something, and we would have had to dig our way out. So this is probably the best case scenario. All right, I think it's time to light the portal and see if it connects up. So let's go through and see what happens. And it worked. So let's go make sure that it does the other way through. And we are also back. I would say this nether portal has been a huge success. Now it's time to start thinking about the marketplace that we are going to be putting in here. The first thing that we need to work out is what we are going to do for the ground here, because I don't want to leave it as grass and I don't want it to be the same as the road. I've been experimenting with a couple of different designs here, and we've got the smooth stone here, we've got cyan terracotta here, and I kind of like the cyan terracotta a little bit more because the smooth stone ends up with this grid pattern in the middle. And from a distance, I think this is just going to be a better look than what the smooth stone does. Now that we've got it figured out, we'll start with clearing out the grass, then place a bunch of stone down, add a few stairs in, and finish it off with some cyan terracotta. I think something is missing. What if we replace this block with something like a polished black stone block? I wonder how that would look. Oh, I like that. Let's get the rest replaced. That's so much better. Adding in the floor has made a huge difference to this area, but it is only the beginning. The next thing that we need to work on is going to require a little bit of experimentation because it's something that I haven't really done before. Because if we are going to turn this into a marketplace, we are going to need to build a bunch of different types of booths where vendors can sell different items. I've been doing a little bit of planning, and I think what will make the most sense is if we treat each of these little areas as its own separate thing. So we will have 2 shops at the entrance, and then we will have shops that go in between each of these pillars to create this central area, and then we'll repeat it from here to there. I think that the best way to do this will be to get all of the market stalls built up, and then once they're built, we can go through and add in all of the details together. Now that we have all of the individual stalls built up, it's time to add in the details. And I think for this first one, what we are going to start with is add some hanging signs up here. We will also add some mangrove buttons along the top, and I think some trapdoors right here. Along the back, we are going to use some spruce trapdoors to create some shelves, put some barrels along the top of them, and some tripwire hook. In between the barrels, we will use some flower pots and sea pickles to create a few cups. And we'll add some more flower pots and some more sea pickles along the counter to make sure that there are plenty of cups for everyone to be drinking from. I think we'll finish up with adding some lanterns here just to make sure that no mobs will spawn. And we now have a nice little place where people can go to buy drinks. I think for this next one, we are going to use some banners along the side here, along with a couple of lanterns up front. In the back, we will add some item frames along the wall here. We'll put some meat and carrots and potatoes in the frames, and maybe a couple of cauldrons in the corners. And we now have a nice little food stand to go along with the drink stand. And then we'll add a little place to buy some tools and weapons, a storage tent, and a flower shop. For the wagons, we aren't going to do too much. I did add some banners along the base of it to just add a little bit of variation and depth. And then in the back, we have a bunch of containers like chests and barrels. Looking around this corner, I think what we should add here is a bookstore, potion shop, sapling shop, a little food court, and a melon merchant. These are all a pretty good set of shops for this side. I've gone ahead and added in the details for this section, and you can see we've got another drink shop, we've got a flower shop, an amethyst shop, a pumpkin shop, and over here we have a honey shop. So I've been working on this section for quite a while, and I've got to be honest, I'm kind of running out of ideas for different shops because I've already done 15, and this last 5 are sort of the last ones that I can think of. So we've got hay bales over here, we've got dripstone and some hanging roots in this one. Over here is another storage tent, and then this one has a bunch of barrels as well. Having added in all of the shops though, I think that this area feels much more alive and like it's actually part of a city and not just a building in the middle of a field. The shops also help to emphasize just how tall this build is. The last thing that I want to do in today's episode is start planning out how we can turn this grass field into a bunch of houses. To start planning this out, I've gathered up a couple of different types of wool colors that we can use to be able to start mapping this out. I've been sitting up here thinking about it because right now there are only a couple of ideas that I know for sure I want to do. The first is that I do want to have this combination of trees and the hedge to go along on this side, but I also want to be able to connect up this intersection with the road over there. And I don't know whether I want to do that as a circle that will come across here and then cut through this way, or if it'll be more of a winding road that doesn't follow the curve of the circle here. I think what I'm going to do is start with what I know, which means outlining with these red blocks where the trees are going to go. Starting to lay out these blocks has helped to give a little bit of scale and perspective to the size of this area that we're working with, because originally I was thinking, this spot right here might not be big enough to put a house. But now that I've laid out this one, I can see this will definitely be plenty of room. I've finished laying it out, and you can see where the red blocks are is where the hedge and the trees are going to go. Where the blue blocks are, that is where the road is. And then the yellow blocks will be the houses that we are going to build. But that is going to have to wait until another episode, because we have run out of time for today's episode, but we will definitely be picking up the building in the next one. But until then, if you enjoyed today's episode, please leave a like. If you want to see more, please subscribe. And until next time, See ya later.